This is Charlie Ko in Singapore at ITB Asia, and I'm with Mr. Moe Ibrahim, who is the director, head of Bintan Lagoon Resort. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Well, I don't know. I looked up Bintan Lagoon Resort, and it looked very interesting because of things that I'm going to ask you about. But
Sure.
I've also learned very interesting about your background. Basically, from USA, New Jersey, finance, Wall Street, and got into developing a fund that ended up acquiring some properties, including Bintan Lagoon Resort. Tell me, why did you get into it? What is Bintan Lagoon Resort, please?
Sure. Well, I got into the hospitality industry by accident, effectively. I had my background was in finance, and I focused on companies that were performing below par, subpar, financially distressed type companies, companies that needed a turnaround. And I had a fund throughout Asia that invested in those kind of companies. Hospitality happened to be some of the companies in which we acquired, and through my funds I acquired Bintan Lagoon Resort in 2006, I believe, 2005, 2006, and fell in love with the hospitality industry. The hospitality industry is very dynamic, it's very complicated. For me, I believe that you shouldn't be in business to make money. You shouldn't be in business if you can't make money. The goal of being in business is to maximize your profitability. And in the hospitality industry, I saw so many opportunities in order to do that, to make change, positive change, and by improving both the guest experience, by improving hotels operationally, by improving hotels through technology. So there's just so much to do. And I found that this was the case that, whether you're a small hotel or a big hotel, this was the case at many hotels around the world. So that's why I decided to focus, entirely on hospitality. And the island of Bintan is not a bad place to spend your days and do that. So I don't know if you know much about Bintan.
No, tell us a little bit, because our audience is global, and,
Yes.
and the ones in Europe and USA wouldn't know.
Well, Bintan is it's a beautiful island. It's located 45 minutes off the coast of Singapore, accessible by ferry, and now there's a couple of airports on the island, so international flights are starting to come in. So you can access Bintan Island by ferry from Singapore. You can access it by ferry from Batam, which is the neighboring Indonesian island. Bintan is about 2 times the size of Singapore, so it's a massive island, but it's
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
that massive.
small
Okay.
population, so total population is under 500,000. So it's not really spoiled. The beaches are beautiful, beautiful white sand beaches. On the island, there's only a handful of hotels, so there's about a dozen hotels. Bintan Lagoon Resort is the biggest of those hotels. We've got 473 rooms, 400 plus are hotel rooms and suites. The rest are villas. We've got over 1.5 kilometers of our own private beachfront, 2 championship golf courses, a Jack Nicklaus and an Ian Baker Finch golf course, 11 restaurants, we've got a nightclub, we've got karaoke, we've got all sorts of land and sea activities, great for families, great for corporate retreats, great for couples. So there's a tremendous amount to do on Bintan Island itself as well. Lots of nature type activities and tours, very unspoiled. I think a lot of people say it's the next Bali kind of 20, 30 years ago, but it's just a beautiful place to spend a weekend or to come for a business retreat.
Are you drawing most of your guests from the surrounding Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesian markets?
Yeah, so today most of our guests come through Singapore, whether they're from Singapore or come via Singapore. That's about 75% of our business at the moment. The Indonesian market is growing very rapidly. So the Indonesian domestic market is now roughly 10% of our business. So we're getting more travelers from places like Batam and Jakarta and other areas within Indonesia as Indonesia is starting to promote Bintan way more aggressively this year, the local Indonesian market is becoming aware of Bintan and starting to come over more often, and the rest of the business comes from China, India, Korea, regional business. Long-haul business from Europe is there, and it's starting to grow as well because the Europeans obviously come and they love the beach. But I'd say most people come to Bintan Lagoon Resort over and over again, really not for the beaches or for the rooms or for the facilities, but it's really the staff. I would say definitively, and I can say this without a doubt, and I smile when I say it, we've got the best staff in all of Indonesia. I think that's very true for all the hotels in Bintan. I think there's something special about the island, but I think Bintan Lagoon Resort is just a little bit more special.
Very important. And you get your friends from New Jersey visiting?
Yeah, I've got a whole big group of my ex-college buddies planning a trip, golf trip out here as well. So that's in the works, definitely.
You are doing some work in technology related to hospitality.
Correct.
Tell me what is it and why you thought there was a need for it?
Yeah, I think in any business it's very important for you to understand who your customers are. And in the online space today, there's a lot of middlemen that are getting in between a hotel and the customer, especially at the time of booking. And those middlemen are guys like, the online travel agencies, the meta search engines, some of the review websites, and that's fantastic because it enables a hotel to distribute across, a much wider number of touch points. But the downside is that a hotel has to give these intermediaries a rate and an allotment. And once that happens, the hotel loses control of what happens to that rate in the market. There are differences in prices, restrictions, so on and so forth. So a hotel often doesn't know who's actually staying at the hotel until the customer shows up at the property. So what we're trying to do is build software that enables a hotel to continue to distribute through as many touch points as possible. So I don't want to restrict the number of ways a hotel can sell itself. Actually, we want to increase the number of ways a hotel can sell itself, but we also want that customer service experience to start at the time of booking. So even if somebody books through an online travel agency, they are still booking Bintan Lagoon Resort, and we want to make sure that we have in place the tools so that we can start that customer journey from the time that they make the booking and make sure it's positive so that they show up at our hotel happy and make sure we have control over that. And there's also the profitability aspect of it as well. So we want to make sure we understand who's booking us at what rate, at what price, so we can optimize our distribution.
Excellent. Moe Ibrahim with Bintan Lagoon Resort, thanks very much.
My pleasure, thank you.